Alright guys, thank you for joining me again tonight. Appreciate it. I see the cat jokes are already starting. that's funny. It's funny how fast you guys are too about it. Headed over here and someone typed in cats. Uh, I'm not, listen, it's like I said, it's not that I don't like them, they're not trustworthy, that's all. Um, but anyway guys, so let's get into tonight's topic. So tonight's topics are Mandate Mondays, right? So tonight we're talking about another mandate coming down from the high table, right? What you call it? Biden regime is coming down with, or finalizing, their mandate for the United States as far as job places with over 100 employees and or government contractors. Whether you have 2 employees or 100 more, they're mandating that you take the vaccine and or test your employees weekly. Then we're going to talk about Eric Adams, which, again, for a lot of you that don't know, Eric Adams is running for mayor here in New York City. De Blasio, that bag of shit, that fucking cancer piece of shit fucking asshole, he's leaving soon. And Eric Adams is going to step in his cancerous shoes and come down with mandates of his own. One of them being getting the kids inoculated come next year. And then you're going to see some real fucking protesting in the street. Then you have the global pushback. We got riots from all over the place, all over the world, hitting the country. And then we're going to talk about Colin Powell and, him passing away. And we might play a little small violin as we talk about him. Not being an asshole, just, whatever. So, let's start with the mandate that Biden dropped, that they spoke about last week. What's today? Today is Monday. So last week they talked about Biden finalizing the new mandate that's coming down the pipe. Listen guys, I thought that the mandate was coming down. I thought the mandate was coming down the pipe was like finalized, but he had to get the Department of Labor involved and OSHA involved, and they teamed up together to finalize the mandates that are coming down next week or whatever. Matthew Johnson, thank you for the donation. Okie Rebel, listen, Oklahoma's going to be going at it with the president. The president's going to be going after any state who drops their own mandates against the mandates or their own laws against the mandates. So that should be very, very interesting to watch. Right now, the mandates are not in play, but he was suggesting everyone do it, or businesses do it. And what did businesses do? They fucking tucked their tail in between their legs and started screaming at their employees to get the fucking injection before it was even put into play. So again, Occupational Safety and Health Agency, which is known as OSHA, and the Department of Labor are heading this mandate up, and they're writing it up together. Now, they were supposed to release it last week, but they didn't. So we're expecting it to be released this week, if not next week, the latest. And they're going to come down with all of these rules. Now, OSHA all of a sudden steps in, and when OSHA, and listen guys, OSHA, they're a bag of dicks. I can't stand those guys. Those guys were at the Trade Center when the towers collapsed, right? So when the towers were down on the ground and it was like days in, these fucking assholes are running around, oh, you don't have your mask on, and then they would give you a warning, and oh my God, you don't have your hard hat on, and they give you a warning. You'd be like, yo, kick rocks, you fucking asshole. You got fucking buildings down, people are still being searched for, and your stupid ass is walking around with a clipboard fucking telling us why the buildings are down or not. I'm like, OSHA guys are fucking assholes. I'm sorry. They're those morons that take their fucking jobs too seriously. Sorry, I can't stand them. I really can't. They're the fucking worst. Guys are still grieving over their buddies being lost, and they're running around like, oh, you by this regulation, you should have your mask and your helmet on. Kick rocks, dick face. Like, seriously. Right? So anyway, they're the worst. Sorry for that rant. And now that these two asshole agencies are fucking, combining together and working on this mandate together, now we have a bigger fucking problem, because it'll be hard for them, or hard for us, to go to court and battle against these two, because these two are fucking inundated with fucking lawyers. I mean, they just have lawyers up the fucking wazoo, man. Up the wazoo. So fighting with them is going to be fucking pretty hard. Not impossible, but hard. And so this mandate, once it's finalized, is going to affect 100 million Americans. Now, the one thing about the mandate, which they're doing, is they are leaving the testing option in. That is on the table. So a lot of companies should be testing or should be given the abilities for the employees to test, at the very least. Whether that's out of their own pockets, whether that's on the job's dime, they should be leaving it on the table. This should be not a blanket mandate to get the shot. There should be an absolute option of getting weekly tested, which again, weekly testing does dick, neither does the shot, but nonetheless, here we are. But they should still put that on there. You guys don't forget shit, huh? Zombies? I mean, I talked about that a week ago, and that's still coming up in the chat, and I saw that in the Angry Prepper chat, by the way, guys. I wasn't completely blind to it. But anyway, guys, here's the problem with the weekly testing option. And it's not a problem, but the companies are going to make it a problem. They're going to use it as a problem. They're going to sit there and say, well, it's costing us too much money. So for the fire department, as of right now, for the weekly testing that we're doing, it's costing the job something like 12 grand a day to test us. I'm like, 12 grand a day? You couldn't get a better fucking deal for the city? Whatever. Not the point. So it's costing 12 grand a day. Now the city can all of a sudden turn around and be like, you know what? This is costing us too much money because we don't pay enough out of pocket for people to do nothing all day. You're worried about 12 grand a day. We're spending probably millions of dollars a day on motherfuckers not at work, on unemployment, and we're talking about like real welfare scumbags, soaking in the system, wasting the money on that. But 12 grand a day is where they draw the line. Now, that's the fire department. I don't know what the police department's paying. They got to be paying more than that. They got to be paying probably double that because they got bigger numbers. But nonetheless, we're getting tested right now. And hopefully it stays that way. But we shall see. We don't know yet. I think they might be dropping a handle later this year, but that's fine. It's giving me a little more time to work out more of my paperwork shit for my retirement. And a lot of us are working out our paperwork shit for our retirement in case they drop that hammer. But as far as the regular businesses go, guys, you should, once this is finalized, for those of you that are about to lose your job, you should turn around and go, well, according to this mandate, the testing option is on the table. You should be testing us or giving us the option to test on our own. You should absolutely be taking this to your job places. Now, a lot of people lost their jobs over the last 2 weeks. A lot of people are losing their jobs over the last 2 weeks. Should absolutely sue because the testing option should be on the table. Now, Bernard, the graphene oxide, I'm going to tell you why I'm not, but I can't tell you on here why I'm not. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I know about the graphene oxide, but again, it's something that I would have to talk to you personally about. Or when I retire. Whatever it is. Right? But they're also offering the spitting option as well. So that's the other one too, guys. The MTA is doing spitting. They're going to have us do spitting. Right now we are doing the swab. But they're also going to offer the spitting for us as well, which is a little more accurate, come to find out, than the swab. So I'd rather do the spitting as well. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it. But if they're beating the drum, guys, if they're beating the drum that is costing too much money, then we're going to say, well, then we'll come out of pocket for our own testing. But then what they're going to do, they're going to jack up the prices on testing so that you can't afford it. And so then you have to take the shot. So they're playing these little shitty games that I don't know why they don't think we're not awoke to the shit. We're not awake. Oh, we're not awakened to the shit that they're doing. We're onto them. A lot of us here are onto them. We know what the fuck they're doing. So I don't know why they're sitting there, like, oh, we're going to raise the prices. We're going to offer you the testing option, but now testing is going to be $100 a test. You're going to be like, what? Well, I got to do it once a week. That's $400 a month. I can afford it. Oh, wait, sorry. We're sorry. It's not $100 a month a test. It's $250 a test. Then they're like, all right, it's $1,000 a week. $1,000 a month. I can afford that. Oh God. You know what? Sorry, another clerical error. It's $500 a week a test. Sorry, right? So they'll play this fucking game with us until it gets to a point where we can't, Mike Smith, your DNA's already been collected through various, that it's unbeknownst to us. So the DNA collection thing, I'm not even worried about. When you work for a city job, your DNA was already collected. So it's nothing new. And you learn about that too late. If you have a city job, your DNA was already collected. So the DNA collection thing is out. As far as that excuse goes. The jab will be doing blood tests. The jab will be doing blood tests for proof, not a fake passport. Yeah, well, the vaccine passport is another problem, guys. It's another problem people are not onto. So, guys, bear with me. By next year, I'll be able to tell you more about the swab and the spit test. By the way, actually. So, listen, when they come out the spit test, I'm switching over to that. But I've only done the test twice already, so I'm not worried about the graphene oxide just yet. But they should be offering it to us in the next couple of weeks, so we should see. Oh, all right, my bad. Sorry, Mike. He said not for you. He said for everyone. No, you're right. If you don't have to do the swab, guys, don't do the swab. Absolutely don't. But I'll talk about it more when I am retired. Right? So right now, I'm not going to talk too much about the testing option for certain reasons. PCP Air Gunner. You know what? I was going to talk about 9/11, like my experience with 9/11. I was going to talk about it, but I don't know. I feel like me talking about it is not much different than other people's story. I mean, maybe my perspective is a slightly different, but not much. And I don't know, talking about it, it doesn't feel weird. Like, I don't have a problem talking about it, like in a small circle, for example, right? So if we all met up somewhere and I could tell you guys my story, I wouldn't have a problem telling you guys my story. But talking about it on here, it seems weird, and I don't want to ever make it sound like I'm bragging or anything like that. That's why I don't want to talk about it, too much. I mean, and then there's conspiracy theory side, and there's probably like things I saw and heard that just struck me as weird then. So again, and it's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down once you start talking about it. But if we were to meet up like in a circle or some shit, I would absolutely talk about it, Mech J101, you're right. Your DNA is collected at birth. DNA has already been collected, guys. So, again, city job collected. So it's not much you can do about it. Derek, yeah. I mean, I was there, but it's yeah. I don't know. Again, personally, I could talk about it. I can talk about it in a classroom setting. When there's no cameras around and shit. But like on here, talking about my story, it just seems weird. That's all, And listen, I don't mind being called like an asshole and Uncle Tom and all this other shit. I don't mind all of that. But talking about 9/11 and someone like, oh, you're doing it for the money, then that's where I take an issue with it. It's another reason why I haven't done it on here, And then the other reason why I haven't done it on here is also because. Then conspiracy theorists, they start coming out and they start like, well, what about this and that plane, and there weren't this many people on that, and I'm like, god damn it, man, I'm just telling them about my story. Like there's certain conspiracy theories I do believe in, or will accept, rather. Sorry, not believe in, will accept. But then you wake in those animals, those assholes come out of the woodworks. Oh my god, well, what about this tower? It was taken down by 3 grenades and two C4 charges. I'm like, what? It's like all this crazy shit comes out. So it's not even, it's just not even worth talking about at some point. All right, guys, so do me a favor. We are at 720. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever makes you happy. There's 3 thumbs down on here, so let's try to get it to 5, because I'm feeling that kind of asshole today. So, back to the mandate that Biden's dropping. Now, interestingly enough, guys, when Biden announced this mandate, the percentage of vaccinations went up by 20% last month. So when he announced this, businesses turned bitch, and then people followed that bitchery, and they ran and got their inoculations. Now, I get it. You don't want to lose your job. You need a backup plan before you actually go fuck off. I'm out of here. You need a backup plan. I said that before. But nonetheless, 20% increase in vaccination. So they were like, oh, well, is that Mark? And that was the thing. When I saw the 20% increase, I was like, shit. That means they're going to pull something else out of their ass to get more people, go up. Well, yes, Mech, I am fucking your name up, I'm sorry, Mech J101. You're right, there are a lot of YouTubers that won't share the truth. Again, like I said, there are things about 9/11 that, I would talk about it if we had the conversation. I would absolutely talk about it. But, Olivia Rackley, thank you for the donation. But, I don't know. It's just, there's certain parts of it I don't want to, just rattle that cage. That's all. I don't have a problem talking about it. It's just the assholes that come out of the woodworks. All conspiracy theories come down on their tactical rope and shit. And you were there, you saw this and that. And then all of a sudden I saw, certain things. It just gets weird. That's all. These assholes make it weird. And I don't get weirded out easily. And asshole conspiracy theorists, when it comes to that, they make it fucking weird. Red, exactly, right? Nuking your own... Listen, this channel, guys, the Angry Truth channel, this is the sacrificial lamb. This channel, if it gets sacrificed, I'll come up with another one. That's all. That's why I created this channel, so I can get away from the Angry Prepper not getting canceled as well, right? Because obviously, guys, the bottom line is I'm making money off both channels, right? And it would be great if this channel doesn't get fucking canceled or deleted or whatever if I say too much. It would be great if it doesn't. But if it does, okay. But if I lose both channels, then I'm up shit's creek without a paddle. Right? So now what? Gandalf, I seen Yuri's interview. I have seen it. Very interesting. And it's crazy that a lot of that was been talked about for years. And again, the Israelites, right? Those guys, the black dudes who dressed up in their garb and they yelled at white people on fucking 42nd Street. You are the devil, you devil ass man. Fuck you, whitey. I mean, that's all they used to do. They used to hang out and fucking curse out white people. But they used to talk about this shit. The same shit that Yuri Bezmenov talked about. And that's because they read about it from Behold the Pale Horse, right? And they used that book as their grounds for all of the shit that's happening now. And they talked about it in depth back then. Even though they didn't like white people, because that's what they did, all they did, they were sharing the information to everyone. Don't be a part of the system. Don't get the fucking mark of the beast. They're gonna put barcodes in the back of your neck, yada yada. This was them guys 30 years ago. They were talking about this shit. They were up on Yuri Bezmenov and this shit. Right? Louis Farrakhan was up on this shit. Many other fucking speakers talked about this shit. And every last one of them were made to be crazies. Racist and crazy. Yes, Farrakhan is a racist. The Israelites are racist. But nonetheless, they were still speaking the truth. Right? You had other white racist groups out there speaking the same shit. Yet they were speaking the truth. But because they were racist, well, no one listened to them. They were outcasted. They were like, you're going to listen to this dude? He hates black people. And then that was it. Right? So, again, guys, a lot of these people were sidelined. Whether the racism was true or not, they were sidelined from society. And they were kept quiet. Or kept in the dark, rather. Not quiet. Kept in the dark. They were still yelling and screaming, but they were yelling and screaming in the dark and no one was listening. But now it's all coming to light. And now people are like, fuck, they were right. So, yes, Alec Jones is another one. I can't stand Alec Jones. I really can't. The guy's always fucking yelling and screaming. Every day, I mean, you're like, when is he going to have a heart attack and die? That's when I watch the shows. I'm waiting for it to happen, waiting for him to go boom, keel over and die, because he gets way too excited. You know, I'm like all the time. I mean, anybody that runs their RPMs that high all the time, they're gonna heel over sooner or later, or keel over sooner or later, guys. I mean, you know, whatever. Yeah, in Anna, they weren't that stupid because they hit the nail on the head. Just keep that in mind. The Israelites, Farrakhan, I forgot what racist group, white racist group down south, they were hitting it on the head. So they couldn't have been that stupid because they were ahead of their time. And because they were ahead of their time, again, they all got sidelined. Now, yes, was I going to listen to some white racist guy talk about hating niggers and killing niggers and hanging them from trees? Was I going to sit and listen to him? And then, you know, he talked about this shit too? No, I wasn't going to sit there. Were you going to sit there and listen to Louis Farrakhan talk about? Nope. You know, so again, they were sidelined, you know. And sometimes, guys, you have to look past the bullshit, which is the racism. You got to look past the bullshit and see what they're talking about. I've listened to countless, I'm going to say, Klansmen and skinhead speakers. Sorry. I listened to countless of those guys talk. Back in the days when the internet was young, I was always watching that because I was always trying to figure out why these guys hated black people so much. It's why I watched them. I would sit there and be like, what is their fascination with fucking hanging black people from trees or killing black people? And I would be like, what's with the hate? You know, like I couldn't fucking understand it. So I tried to understand it by watching their videos. And I just, the hate in their eyes by the bullshit, I just couldn't understand it. And so, you know, then I stopped watching after a while. You know, not after a while, I stopped watching it. After I understood that I couldn't understand it, well then I was like, oh shit. You know, it was just like, this is unobtainable. It's unobtainable for me to understand it, so I stopped watching it. But listening to enough of their conversations on tape, right? Listening to Hitler, like for example, on tape. When you listen to Hitler, you're like, this guy wowed people with his speech pattern. And I listened to Hitler because I wanted to know why so many people in Germany just didn't say, fuck this. We're not putting people away in camps anymore. We're not starving them out anymore. We're not taking their guns away from them anymore. What the fuck? And so you listen to him speak, and he had a speech pattern that he used. And he used a certain set, like a, psych ops, whatever it was. He used a set of speech patterns that got people riled up. And I'm like, this guy was smart. He used a certain pattern to get people on his side. And you know what's going on? The same shit is happening now. And with that, guys, you're listening to the same speech. And to understand what is going on, unfortunately, you got to listen to all the bullshit in the world. You got to listen to the fucking Louis Farrakhan's of the world. You got to listen to the Israelites of the world. You got to listen to the fucking white racists. And you got to pick up on some of their speech patterns. And you're like, holy shit. Right? And then you're like, this is how they get mind control. This is how they get people. So when you identify that pattern, that is how you break out of the mind control bullshit. That's why, like a first example, there was a guy, again, I'm going to use this as an example, a white racist who followed one of his leaders. It was a KKK member. And he followed this guy. He was going to follow this guy to the ends of the earth. But he was able to watch the guy's bullshit long enough to go, this guy's full of shit. And he started doing his own research, and he realized what was going on. And he was like, shit. And he stepped away from, like, it might have been the skinheads. And he stepped away from them. He pulled back. And he was like, shit. And now, guys, if you ever look at any of these guys, they're like the televangelists. Who's that guy with the nice fucking hair who's always on TV? Who's like, the Lord is your friend, and he's your friend, and he lives in a giant fucking mansion. One of you guys are going to mention him soon. But this guy, same fucking speech pattern. He's using the same fucking, Alan, yeah, American History X. But American History X, it wasn't this guy. It was another guy who was, who was up there. I guess maybe it was loosely based on that. Because when I watched that movie, it reminded me of that guy. But Joel Austin, thank you. Yes, that guy, listen. I think Joel Austin's a fraud. And a lot of people are like, how dare you? He's a fucking fraud. Sorry. The guy has he has a smile and he has a fucking thing behind his eye. That's just me. I pay attention to the bullshit. I know a lot of people don't. And somebody said it earlier, when people are desperate, guys, they will believe in any fucking thing. When people are scared, they will believe in anything. And the one thing that Farrakhan, the skinheads speaker, I forgot his name, KKK speakers, the one thing they did was they scared the shit out of their followers. Oh, you're gonna let these black kids come and take your job? They're coming in and they're sitting home on the taxpayers' dime, and you're fucking feeding them, and they're gonna take over the world and they're gonna dominate America. And they were scaring their own fucking followers, and they scared their own followers. David Duke was one of them. Thank you, Ken. And they scared their own followers enough that their followers started to hate us, black folks that is, and started to hate us, and that's how they got them. Now here's the problem, guys. A lot of people sit there and go, well, why did you? I saw a couple of comments. Clayton Bisbee and Sellout and Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom is somebody who doesn't fucking understand what's going on with society, so he goes along with the program. That's an Uncle Tom. He doesn't want to be beat up. He wants to be liked by Master Boss, and he wants to suck Master Boss' dick. Please, Master Boss, how are we doing today, boss? Right? That's an Uncle Tom. That's the majority of society. Whether you're black, white, Chinese, they're the Uncle Toms of society. They are wholeheartedly invested in believing this governmental bullshit. And so they don't want to research on their own. They want to take the word of the man, and they want people to like them and love them. Why they took the shot. Keep that in mind. I want to do my part too, so I'm liked and loved. I'll take the shot. That's exactly what they did. So now for all of these people, the David Dukes of the world, Farrakhan's of the world, the black Israelites, they did that. They scared their followers. Farrakhan scared black America into thinking that white America was going to stand and rise up again and create slaves all over again and put us back in chains and put us back on a boat back to Africa. Or put us back in chains and make us slaves again. And people go, no, I don't want that to happen. And they follow fucking Louis Farrakhan. Again, guys, I've done enough research. I was in the Nation of Islam for a short period of time. And I left because I recognized the bullshit. There was a different kind of bullshit with the Nation of Islam. And, once following it for a little while, I was like, oh my God, this is bullshit too. It's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. They scare you into believing whatever hocus pocus bullshit they want you to believe in. So now, here we are. We are fucking being divided because people are too ignorant to wake up and do their own research and go, you know what, man? Less than 1% of the population. Why the fuck are we doing what we're doing? You know? And so now here we are, guys. We're at odds with each other. We're fighting with one another, and we're fighting with one another. When look at all of the heads of the racist groups, if you will, right? Again, Nation of Islam's not so much racist anymore as it used to be. But look at groups like Farrakhan, right? Not when, but Farrakhan's being a leader of it. Look at David Dukes and fucking the black Israelites and all this bullshit. They are all at odds with one another, right? So the Nation of Islam don't like the black Israelites, they're at odds with each other. The KKK and the fucking skinheads, they're at odds with each other. Then you have the Aryan Nation who's at odds with the fucking KKK and the skinheads. They are all at odds with each other, and all of their leaders, guys, are well-off dudes. If motherfuckers aren't paying a fucking attention to what's going on, they are fucking just as lost. It's insane. It's insane that all of these motherfuckers have nice fucking suits on, eat nice steak dinners, while their followers, who are most of the time welfare recipients, are fucking eating canned spam. That's an oxymoron because spam is canned. But anyway, you get what I'm fucking saying, right? And so no one recognizes this shit, and no one calls them out on this bullshit at all. Right? Ensure your freedom. Ensure your freedom. Yes, I've already known about Yuri Bezmenov. I watched a ton of this video. People keep sending it to me. I'm like, I'm watching the same video 8 times already. You know? 19th Amendment. Yes, like BLM. Another one. Guys, all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You mean to tell me all these top leaders of the world, are, again, with their fat cat suits and their fucking nice rides and their fucking steak dinners with their 8 wives, all of them, Whether they hate white folks, whether they hate black folks, they're all the fucking same. So, again, guys, you want to fall for the bullshit and then go, well, why did you watch White Racist for? You're stupid. No, you're stupid. You're stupid because you're not doing your own research and recognizing what's going on. You know? Again, guys, it's insane how we sat in the bullshit. And these guys are part of the problem, too. I mean, listen, not for nothing. If you assassinated all of these assholes, somebody would step up in their place, but they'd be less likely to do it if you fucking showed them what the fuck's going on. And I get it, guys. The white racists of the world, if you ever watch some of their videos, which I think a lot of their videos are scrubbed off the internet, but they have forums out there. So if you go to some of their forums and you watch some of their videos on the reason why they need to fight for America and keep America white, you watch some of those videos, you're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be, I mean, listen, a lot of the shit they use is just putting black people in a bad light. But they never show the good side of black folks. Okay. And then you got, let's say, Louis Farrakhan talking about white folks and showing you all the bad shit white folks have done to blacks. But they don't show you any videos of what white folks have done good for black people. Right? So, this, again, people don't see past the bullshit. They want to be mad. I personally believe a lot of people want to be mad. They want to be angry. They want to sit there and go, fuck you, for no other reason, just to say it. But listen, guys, you got to do your own research. You got to, it sucks to say, you got to listen to a lot of bullshit before you come to your own conclusions. You know? And I came to my own conclusions years ago. And it's, like I said, trying to understand why fucking, you know, white guys hated black people so much that they wanted to kill them. We're going to kill a nigga. And for no reason. And now I understand, you know, and here's the other side of me. Little hypocritical. But I understood why blacks don't like whites. Because I experienced it a lot myself. So I could see that. But then you get older and you recognize, yo, it's not just fucking, it's not white folks that treated us bad. There's a lot of races in the United States that treated black folks bad. Fucking Dominicans here in Washington Heights treat black folks bad. Asians, Chinese, and Koreans treated black folks bad. Fucking Africans treated American blacks bad. So, again, it's not a fucking white-black thing. It is far from that. It's these motherfuckers coming here, listening to the bullshit, and trying to be a part of it so that they can be liked as well. That's all it was. You got Chinese folks hating black folks and go, well, look, I hate black people too, trying to be a part of white society. And it didn't work out for them. You got to know fucking, you got to look at it from all angles and then come up with your own conclusion. You can't just look at one side and go, whoa, I'm going to agree with that side only. You got to look at it all. And unfortunately, I had to do a lot of bullshit. John Witherspoon's. Actually, the Chinese and Japanese or the Chinese and Koreans don't get along. So, you know, they might not call themselves yellow, you're right. But they don't get along the same way. I'm pretty sure they have their own little racial terms they use for one another. But they're not getting along. I mean, like, I get what you're saying. You know, you got a lot of, you know, black folks calling each other niggas, and then as soon as a white guy says it, they're like, oh, you know, everybody gets up in arms. The word means the same across the board. That's it. Like, again, I joke around with it, and joke around with it in the sense of making people feel uncomfortable. It's a weird thing I do with white folks sometimes. You know, at least people I know. You know, it makes them feel really odd when they say, what's going on, my nigga? They're like, oh my God, did he just say the N-word? Yes, I said the N-word, you know? But again, it's just joking around. But when rappers are saying it, and then they go, it's a term of endearment. I'm like, what? How the fuck is saying nigga a term of endearment? When the last thing a gangbanger says to another motherfucker is like, hold this nigga. That's not a term of endearment, right? Don Cheadle was trying to defend it years ago. Probably 15 years ago, he was on TV and he was trying to defend the N-word. He's like, when we say it as a term of endearment, he's like, hey, what's going on, my nigga? How's it? He's trying to defend it. But then I'm like, it don't work that way when motherfuckers are shooting one another. Nigga, what'd you say to me? Bang, bang, bang. You know, like, that's not a term of endearment. You can't rationalize that word. You can't. Sorry. Olivia, thank you for the donation. And thank you for pointing that out, Olivia. If Olivia says fear leads to anger, anger leads to hatred. Hatred leads to spiritual death. Exactly. And that's what these leaders of the world work on, right? Um, they absolutely work on anger and fear to get you to follow them in their bullshit. I mean, look at Jim Jones, for example. He did the same. Was it Jim Jones? Right? Is that the guy I'm talking about? The guy in Guyana. He did the same shit. He worked off of more of conning his followers into believing him. Which then, when they got to Guyana, he scared the shit out of them, and half of them drank Kool-Aid, and the other half got shot with AKs. Well, listen, yeah, look, there's a lot of people who, surprisingly enough, don't use the word. Like they can get in an argument with somebody black. Listen, I got in an argument with a gay guy. This is years ago, and the guy was being a bit of a bitch, right? And he was a bitch, and not because he was gay, but because he was built like a fucking 12-year-old schoolgirl, and he was a bitch. And he was sitting there going, we're getting, he was being stupid, and I kicked him out of the fucking, it wasn't a club, it was some kind of event, like a fashion event or something. So I kick him out, and he said something to me, and I go, say that again? And he goes, you're a nigger. And I'm like, I said, really, you fucking, and then, I called him a faggot. And he was like, oh, really? Oh, really? I'm like, whoa. I said, you don't like that, right? He's like, well, you're still a nigger. I said, listen, don't be mad at me because your father's disappointed in you. And he was like, fuck you. And then he went on a fucking tear. And I think he was trying to smack me. I don't know what he was trying to do. He didn't have a closed fist. He was trying to smack me like how I guess gay men try to smack guys. And like, and I'm like, what are you going to do? Smack me till it stings? Get the fuck out of here. And his girl, or whatever girl he was with, grabbed him and pulled him in the cab, and then they drove off. So, again, guys, and when he said that, I was thinking that was going to be the last thing out of his mouth because he's gay, right? Like, what gay guy wants to be, call another black guy nigger, being that he's probably been called a faggot 1,000 times. But nonetheless, I called him a faggot. He got upset, and then, the father is disappointed in you struck a nerve. So, calling him, homo didn't fucking bother him at all. Once I said his father was disappointed in him, he flew off the handle. His fucking hands were moving like fucking feet of fury. I was like, get out of here. It was bad. But anyway, it was just insane. Where he went with that. So, guys, there are people who are also going to use these words. That's the point to this whole thing. There are people that are going to use these words to piss you off, right? I know people might not mean it, but if they're trying to get a rise out of you, they're going to be like, and no matter what they say to you, right? You're like, yeah, man, get out of here. Get the fuck on, And they're like, yo, fuck you, you're stupid, your mother sucks dick. You're like, yeah, all right, man, get out of here. And then they'll turn around, yo, fucking nigger. And they're like, and then there's a reaction. You're like, what you say to me? And then they're like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that. I've seen that multiple times. I've seen a guy drop the N-bomb in the middle of a conversation to piss somebody off, and the look on the person's face that said it was like, fuck, I shouldn't have went there. Maybe so, thank you for the donation. So it's just, you're going to hear people say it to piss you off, and you got to know when people are saying it to piss you off. And if they're going to say whatever racial term they're going to say, you got to have a quick comeback. Because a quick comeback to anybody trying to piss you off with whatever racial term they're going to use, or I guess homophobic terms they're going to use, whatever comeback you have is fast, is going to piss that person off even more. Because if you don't react to them calling you whatever name they're going to call you, you're going to piss them off even worse, and you won. At that point, you won. So keep that in mind, guys. If this is years of fucking fighting with people in the street, and arguing with people, and arguing with gay men, it goes down that way. So if you don't react, they get pissed off. When they get pissed off, you won. All right, sorry about that, guys. Back on hand. All right, so anyway, back to the whole mandate. Jesus, man, we're 40 minutes in. I got 20 minutes left. Let's try to cover this. Sorry about that rant. I went so far off the fucking scale. Sorry about that. I say the M-bomb every day. So, taking a stand, guys. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed an executive order banning any entity, including private businesses, from requiring vaccine of their employees or customers. But that's not saying that they can't do weekly testing. So that's a good thing. That's Texas governor. I'm pretty sure the Florida governor did that. But, which is going to be an interesting fight right now, Southwest and American Airlines are ignoring that executive order from the Texas governor. That's going to be an interesting fight. I'm loving to see where that's going to go. Because, now they're in his state, and it's not like he can tell them to leave, and it's not like they're going to leave. So it should be an interesting fight. And again, Governor Abbott taking a stand against Biden. Other states are doing the same thing. Other states are taking their time. So I know a lot of you will say, well, how come this state didn't do that in this state? Everyone's being easy. They're writing out their executive order to fight against this mandate. So they're trying to see what this mandate's going to say so that they can counter it responsibly. So that everybody's like, well, why didn't they do it now? No. They got to be responsible, guys. You got to think responsible when you're going up against the president of the United States. You got to think of every legal avenue to cover. You got to make sure that whatever he comes out with, you can counter it responsibly and not say fuck it. You got to be responsible. So they're waiting to see what he comes down with, and then you're going to see probably within a day to a couple weeks, you're going to see executive orders in a lot of states fight that mandate that the president's coming out with. All right, so now for a lot of other states, guys, they're getting rid of unemployment in a lot of states if you don't comply with the mandate. So if you don't comply with the mandate and you get fired, you're not getting unemployment. Now, there are certain states that are, if you get fired because you didn't comply, you're still going to get unemployment. So you got to check your local area, city, and state to see whether or not you're going to get unemployment if you quit or get fired, whatever it is. Make sure, and if it's worth it for you, do it. If not, Queen Red Pill. Yes, New York is on the list of unemployment. You will not get unemployment if you refuse the shot. So, again, fuck them in the ass, right? Fucking dickheads. Anyway, Eric Adams, another asshole, right? So, again, you guys heard me a couple weeks ago talk about how he sounded, humble, this, that, and the third, and then he dropped a bomb about wanting to get kids here in New York City inoculated for school. Olivia, again, thank you for the donation. Do me people know? Olivia, can you rewrite that? Do me people know me here? Like I am a valued member of the community here. Olivia, this is the first time I actually seen you on here, so no, I don't know. I don't know who you are, unless you're like a hidden subscriber. But thank you for the donations, though. I appreciate it. Super Predator, I heard that. I heard about the airplane pilot dying in midair after the second shot, but they're trying to deny that it was the shot. They're trying to say that he had COVID or some crazy shit, or he had a heart attack. Sorry. They're trying to blame the heart attack. But I'll get to that in a minute. So Eric Adams, guys, he is the next mayor of New York City. The election hasn't happened yet, but he is so high in the polls against, what's his name, Eric Swalwell, right? The old Guardian Angel member, or he is still a Guardian Angel member, but he was the old Guardian Angel founder. Back in the days when Guardian Angels used to hand drug dealers and criminals their asses. The Guardian Angels back in the 80s and 90s, they were fucking dudes up. But anyway, Paul S., yes. Eric Adams is a douchebag, and Eric Adams running for mayor. So now Eric Adams is going to win against Eric Swalwell. Curtis, thank you. Thank you, Xavier. Curtis Swalwell. I can never say his last name. Swalwell, whatever. Is not going to win against Curtis. Curtis is out. Curtis is not winning the election. Eric Adams is winning. And Eric Adams is so confident that he's winning that he's already said that he's the next mayor of New York City. That's how confident he is. And listen, guys, he's going to win. That's the bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about him. So with that, guys, he wants to mandate kids to get the shot for school. Now, there is a growing presence here in the city with the mandates and protesting. Every time they have a protest, the protest gets bigger. Now you're involving kids getting a shot that a lot of parents are out on. What do you think, and what you think you're going to see next year when he becomes mayor and he tries to mandate this shit? You're going to see one of the biggest pushbacks you ever seen in New York City. Soylent Green. Yes, you're right. Pilots cannot have heart conditions, so that makes a lot more sense now that you said that. Right. He can't have a heart condition and be a pilot. So you're right. They're trying to say he had a heart attack. So again, what do we think it is? We know what it was. So anyway, guys, the protesting that you're going to see next year, if he tries to mandate kids getting the shot, is going to be epic. Because you got a lot of people out in the street. You got over 1,000 people each time now they protest against the mandates. You try to mandate the kids taking this, all hell's going to break loose. I am confident that we're going to see the biggest protest New York City or America has ever seen regarding these mandates. But we got to wait and see. Right? So, guys, next topic we're going to talk about is the global pushback. Now, the global pushback, being that I just said we're going to see one of the biggest protests America's ever seen against the mandates, around the world, guys, they are protesting left and fucking right. Left and right. Italy, Netherlands, Switzerland, Amsterdam, Israel, France, Luxembourg, Greece, Romania, Slovenia, Germany, Australia, United Kingdom, New York City. Now, New York City is on a smaller scale, but they're the only city in the country that's protesting, at least with the large numbers. Right, so at least with the protesting. So all of these countries, guys, are pushing back. Italy right now is pushing back against the green passport, which they sat there and said they want everybody to be tracked who is vaccinated and tested and or has COVID antibodies. So they want to keep everybody tracked. That's the bad thing. Right? So that they're looking to track everybody, and everybody's like, fuck that. We don't want to be tracked. We don't want to have put our shit on that. So Italy's been protesting pretty fucking hard. Now, side note, Pelosi was in Rome, and where she was meeting, the protesters started gathering and getting loud and violent, and they had to evacuate Pelosi out of there. Now, only if the bitch tripped on a fucking rock and hit her head on a fucking stone, that would have been great, but she didn't. So she's still alive, sadly to say, but they whisked her out of there because the people were getting violent, as they said. The Netherlands, they've also been protesting over the change of the possibility of them changing the the possibility of eating outdoors and having to have a COVID test and or vaccination to eat outdoors. So the Netherlands were protesting against that. They were also protesting against their version of the vaccine passport. Switzerland, you needed to have a COVID certification. So not even a passport, but an actual certification, like a legit paper on hand to show around. They've been protesting. Amsterdam, protesting hard. Israel, tired of the bullshit. Israel started protesting over there, and they're not covering it here, but they've been protesting because the Israeli government wants everyone to take their third shot. And if they do not take the third shot, their COVID passport, COVID vaccine passport, will become inactive if they don't take the third shot. With that being said, they got pissed off and they started fucking protesting. Hasn't turned to riots yet. It should, but it hasn't. France, same thing. They're against all the mandates as well, so they've been protesting pretty hard. Luxembourg, they're getting rid of their ability to test at home. And because they can't test at home, they need them to test professionally. And if they test at home, that test is invalid, which would make their passport or their certification invalid. So now they want them to go out and take a test. The problem with going out and taking a professional test is that they're going to mark up the price so that they have to now take the vaccine. Bullshit move. Greece, they're protesting against the vaccine passport and mandates. Romania is doing the same thing. Slovenia, same thing. Germany, same shit. Australia, they're protesting, but they're straight up and down fucked in the ass. The shit that guys, they are in force running over the people who have their masks down but are drinking their coffee, and they're running over and checking people's cups to make sure they have coffee in there so that they can take their mask down. Mary Jean, I didn't know that the Dominican Republic was even doing that shit. So Mary Jean said that the DR is doing the same shit right now with the vaccine passports. Today. They started it today. Sorry. Dominican Republic. Also known as DR. For a lot of you that don't know. or not hip to it. But at least we call that here. So, guys, that's insane what's going on in Australia. Insane. The fact that they're sitting there going, oh, stop, and they're checking their drinks. Yo, it's time for them to start handing the cops their fucking asses. Or the cops stop being bitches and join the fucking people. You choose. We need more in the fucking night. Remember the tank man. Yes, Truck Campbell. I remember the tank guy. That was in Tiananmen Square, right? Is that the one you're talking about? That tank guy? Right, and that's the other thing, guys. So back to Eric Adams, right? Real quick, he wants to get these kids inoculated. Instead, there are more kids in the city getting killed by gun violence than dying of COVID. That's a simple, straight fact, right? You look it up on fucking CDC. So these kids are getting shot like hotcakes, but he's like, oh, we got to make sure they're inoculated. What about stopping the fucking violence in the street first, then worry about fucking vaccine for kids? But no, everything's ass backwards, guys. Mike Smith, that depends on what you're talking about. Cops are not your friends in Australia, clearly. Here in the United States, different story, right? I know enough cops who are not going to follow whatever mandate might come down from the mayor or the governor or the president. A lot of cops are not following it. So in that case, here in the United States, the cops are your friends. But not all of them, right? Obviously, you're going to have some cops that are ass kissers, and they're going to be like, oh, well, whatever President Biden says. And you got other cops that are like, fuck Biden, fuck the mayor, fuck the governor. We're not doing this shit. Right? Again, depends on where you are. All of Australia is fucked. I don't know how the hell the cops all got on board with that shit. Mike, it's not if I say so, it's I know so. You know, I know for a fact. Right? You're not going to get the same compliance that you got in Australia with those cops. You're not getting that here. You're going to get some cops, but you're not going to get the absorbent amount that you have over there. The absorbent amount over there is insane. I've never seen anything like it. It's like they all drank the same Kool-Aid. Oh, shit. Whatever you say, Mr. President. We'll fucking lock these people up, beat them with nightsticks, shoot them with rubber bullets. You know? Because that's what happens when you fucking have no guns and you have nowhere to go. And you have nothing to fight back with. Right? Hence is why we want to keep our guns, and we are going to keep our guns. There's not going to be any talk of taking it away or restricting us. And guys, whatever the next fucking laws come down, you got to fight that shit. We have to fight that shit. We should not be submitting to the shit we're submitting to. Period. I'm getting life. On everyone. I know that's a joke. Autoimmune prepper. That was a good one. So, guys, with all of these countries pushing back right now, with all of them pushing back, how the fuck can all these countries be wrong? Huh? How can we all be wrong? How can all of us who don't want to subscribe to the mandate, any of the mandates, how are we all wrong? Because we see the bullshit. Lava Man says we don't use rubber bullets. Okay. PMP, I get to talk about guns because I understand what's going on. Right, because I don't have one? That's a stupid ideology. That, you know how, PN, you know how stupid that sounds? Because you still want people who agree with the Second Amendment to be on your side and fight. Therefore, I'm on your side fighting. So don't be an asshole and make an asshole comment like that because you look like an asshole. Asshole. I don't know what else to tell you. So anyway, guys, people have had enough in these countries. That's why they're all pushing back. All across the board, right? If everybody's pushing back, how come the U.S. isn't pushing back? How come the country that was built on pushing back is not pushing back? Right? And yet New York City, the most liberal city in the fucking country, is pushing back. But everywhere else isn't. There's something wrong, man. Something wrong. But, again, we need to push back at all costs. Whatever it's the Second Amendment, the jab, the P, whatever the fuck it is, we need to push back, guys. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about before I end it, I got 5 minutes before I end it. Colin Powell. Colin Powell was inoculated. Colin Powell died of COVID, or complications of COVID. As you notice, guys, they word it carefully. When you watch how people die of COVID now, who are vaccinated, they go, they died from complications of COVID. If you weren't vaccinated, you died of COVID. Do you see the language they're using? They're using two distinct languages to get you people riled up, to get people believing in the bullshit. You gotta pay attention to the words. Forget what they're showing you on screen and listen to the words. Right? So, if you listen to what they're saying, you start peeling back the bullshit. You start seeing the bullshit. And then you're like, man, that's fucking crazy. Right? And so, Colin Powell takes the shot, still gets COVID, and still dies anyway. Well, Mark Olson, that's what they said. They said he had blood cancer and he had this and he had that. But he took the shot because he didn't want to get COVID. And he still got it. Right, again, guys, doesn't matter why, it doesn't matter what else he had. He took it. That was the reason for him to take it. His doctors probably told him, well, because you have cancer, you should take the vaccine so you can protect yourself so you don't die. You want to protect yourself as much as you can. This is his doctor telling him this shit. I can guarantee you that was a conversation in the office. And what does he do? He takes a shot. And what happens? Well, we all know what happens. So again, guys, it's just lending to it not being fucking effective. That's all it is. You know, I mean, again, they're gonna split. I'm gonna tell you right now. Tomorrow morning, they're gonna split hairs. They're gonna be splitting the finest hairs. Well, Mark, yes, we understand that, but they don't. Apparently, they don't, right? And yes, Mary Beth, I heard that he was sick a few months ago, but they never said what it was. Now all of a sudden, right, he has like all these cancers popping up. Tomorrow he's gonna have a tumor the size of fucking Texas in his chest, and he's gonna have a brain cancer of some kind and lesions on his brain. It's gonna come out all this shit, and they're like, well, this is why he really died. Guarantee you, they're gonna be splitting here tomorrow morning. You'll probably start seeing it tonight. You'll probably start seeing it tonight. Why? It wasn't just that. It was all these other problems he had and combined and whatever, man. A Truth Campbell, you would hope so. You would hope so, and they fucked that up, and boom, right? So yeah, and guys, I get it with all of the vax shit, but it doesn't help their argument when you see shit like this. That's what I mean. That's what I'm getting to. It doesn't help their argument at all. So again, So anyway, Colin Powell. He's another one they're gonna try to swing that story around whatever way they can. But we shall see. We shall see how they spin it tomorrow, right? But anyway, all right, guys. So we are at the almost 1 hour mark. Again, guys, I might be doing another live stream. What's tonight? Monday. I might be doing one Wednesday. If not, I'll be doing one Friday night, I think. Yeah, I should be doing one Friday night. If not Wednesday, Friday night, we shall see. This has been a rough 2 weeks for me, just because I've been at work a lot. A lot of shit's been, a lot of shit's changed in the last couple of weeks at work. So I've been doing a lot of overtime. So if I'm not too tired, I'll do one Wednesday. If not, I'll do it Friday for sure. So other than that, guys, I do appreciate the donations. I do appreciate you guys following me over here from the Angry Truth channel. Mods, thank you for doing what you guys do. PNP, you're still an asshole. And other than that, guys, thank you for the night. I'm actually stalling for 10 seconds so I can get it to 1 hour in the nose, and then I'll fucking shut it off. Power. So. All right, guys. Good night. For real. Thank you.